They're going to bury him in a gold casket like they did with Floyd. They make martyrs out of these people.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that
bills after him, right?
I don't. Well, yeah, they didn't even build that. That's
in California,
which is.
Can I ask a question for everyone? Because I'm sure everyone. I guess I know people. Their opinions are going to be one or two things. Here's the real good question. And people hate these kind of questions because, like, would you rather have the flu or cancer? Like, it's two bad choices. I'll give you two bad choices. You have to pick one. Who would you regard as more of a hero, Luigi Mangione or George Floyd?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Mangione.
If it's the question,
right?
He didn't hold a pregnant woman hostage.
Well, but we're not talking about the past of what we're talking about the key moment that they were in.
No, we're just talking about
in general?
which one of these people would you consider more of a heroic figure?
Yeah, Mangione.
Yeah, because
now I must clarify. What we're saying is
no clarification.
No, on a scale
Tim Pool endorses Mangione murder.
On a scale of 0, negative 100 to positive 100, where anything in the negative spectrum is villainy and is not heroic, adding increments to it in any degree is more heroic than the other, then sure, we could put George Floyd at negative 50 and Mangione at negative 49. You know, there's not a big difference between the two, in my opinion. But the question, I suppose, is that Mangione was driven by an ideological pursuit, and George Floyd was just a drug user behind the wheel of a car.
Sure.
So it's not so much that it's heroic; it's that his actions were politically motivated. So
I think I'm going to say this.
Actually, I'm going to pause. I take it back. George Floyd.
I'm going to be very tactful.
George Floyd wasn't intending to destroy the world. So if we're basing it on a scale of not the actions you took for ideological reasons, but the amount of good you're doing in the world, Luigi Mangione is much, much lower on the scale than George Floyd was by simply George Floyd being a drug addict.
So here, let's have this debate because it's kind of a fun one, because I think everyone in this room agrees that Luigi Mangione should be in jail and this guy's not a good guy. So we are all on the same page. That's our context, right? Broadly speaking. But I think I will defend it when kids wear those Che Guevara shirts, because there's the idea of Che Guevara and there's the reality of Che Guevara. Just like for boomers, there's the idea of Reagan and the reality of Reagan, right? I think we all understand that. Totally. The idea of what Luigi Mangione did is very different from the reality, because he didn't fix anything. The CEO got replaced in 5 minutes. The company didn't change their policies. No good, even by his own standards, follows the consequence except for a life being taken and people, if anything, having more sympathy for the healthcare companies than before. But the idea that when things get horribly wrong, it falls on people to take direct action, I think that is a very American idea. And I think that idea has something to it, to speak very tactfully.
I mean...
Indeed, I do have to say it, unfortunately, but Michael, nobody can hear what you're saying.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. Okay, what do we do?
Maybe put a little space between it so your voice can be heard.
Is this better?
No, but maybe...
Is this worse?
Cut a hole into the mask?
Yeah,
I mean... That's going to ruin the whole thing.
A box cutter?
It is, and I didn't want to say anything until the last minute, but basically everyone's saying they can't hear what
Okay, I'm taking it off. I did the bit.
I did the bit.
You can breathe.
Oh my God, the question is Michael Malice?
It's been Luigi Mangione the whole time.
I had no
idea.
That's fine. I did the bit. Let's get back to the point I was just making, though. There is something to be said, and again, we have to be very tactful, because I do think it's dangerous when you discuss these things on places with big audiences, because if you have 1 million, Tim Ferriss had this great piece. He goes, look, things happen as a function of scale, right? If you think about how 1 in a million people are like literally crazy in the sense like they think they're married to you.
Yep.
If your audience has 1 million people and you say, hey, you should do something, one of those people is gonna do something very, very bad and crazy. Mm-hmm. So my point is, but there is something to be said for this idea of direct action. And John Locke talked about it. Thomas Jefferson talked about it. When things reach a point, at a certain point, it's like someone's like, I'm gonna do something about this. I'm gonna put a stop to this once and for all.
The issue, I suppose, is I don't. So let's go back to the initial point of the debate. When I initially said Luigi, it was under this pretext of a man, as you're describing, driven to do something about what he perceives as a problem, is more heroic than a drug addict. But when I actually map it out on a scale of goodness and heroism, George Floyd wins easily. The act of a guy sitting on a park bench with his finger up his nose is more heroic than Luigi Mangione. You can argue that, I suppose the definition of how you're using heroic is what I would contest. Heroic, in my mind, is for the betterment of society, altruistic.
Oh, I don't think that at all. Sorry.
So by heroic, you just mean someone who's willing to take action.
In pursuit of his values.
And are you using just the moment?
But what if his values are to like genocide a group of people?
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to do it by yourself. I don't think his values are entirely wrong. I think at a certain point when you're dealing with a system that is a very what.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I think when and again, I'm speaking broadly. I'm not speaking about his specifics. I do not agree with him at all in this case. But I think in certain, like if you look at things with the nursing homes, I'm surprised that no one did something similar. When you have a system and you've tried here's an example that everyone in the audience will be able to understand. If you have a dad, and this dad learns that someone did something to their kid, right? There's been many cases like this, and the dad's like, you know what? The guy got acquitted. I'm not going to go to meet my maker without having to do something about it. I think that dad is a heroic figure.
I disagree.
Like the video of the guy who took out the person.
Gary Plauché.
I disagree.
Might have pronounced his last
name.
I disagree because it's not black and white. It's not yes or no. The reason why I'd say Luigi Mangione is not a hero, he's a villain. Because what you're describing is the backstory of villainy, the same as it could be for heroism.
Sure, that's true.
And so the question is what they did.
Don't tell me what the question is. I know what the question is.
Indeed. In this regard, thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.